Hey, have you ever wondered if there's a difference between cornbread made from scratch and boxed cornbread? Well, I hope I can answer that for you in this video. So I'll be making a homemade cornbread, and then I'll also be using one of the Jiffy boxes to make a cornbread. And I'm going to be adding some special ingredients to both, so we'll see how they turn out. So let's get started. All right, so we're doing the cornbread, but I'm gonna melt my butter first. And that way, since that's the first thing to melt, it'll have time to cool so that I can add it into the mixture for my first cornbread, which is the one from scratch. All right, so my butter is melted, and I'm just gonna set that to the side. You can do ghee if you want, but I just melted my butter, and I'll set it to the side. Alright, so I have 1 cup of cornmeal. I've leveled it off in the bag. So that's yellow cornmeal. I have 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. Alright, 1/4 of a cup of my sugar, the sweetener that I'll be using. I've done this with coconut sugar also, but that's cane sugar that I just added. And also I've done it with powdered swerve. So you can do a sugar alternative in this and it works just fine. Alright, so my oven is preheated. Now we're going to go in with our half teaspoon of baking soda. And then we'll do the same half teaspoon for the baking starter. Let's just mix this in. All right, so I just want to make a well in the middle, kind of clearing it out. We'll do our 1 egg. Put that in the middle. Set that off to the side. So we'll add in our 1/2 cup of cream. You can do buttermilk if you want, but I did heavy cream. Alright, so just mix this up. And I'll add in the cooled butter. Add in the rest of the butter. So I put my butter in a pan like this. So I'm just gonna get this hot, and this is the butter that I'm gonna be browning. So once that's hot, then I'm gonna pour my cornbread batter in there. You don't want your batter to be milky or wet, and then you also don't want it to be really dry. So this is the perfect consistency. So if it was dry, I would add more water, but it's not. So we'll just wait for the butter to brown. Okay, so my butter has started browning. So I can add the batter in, and to the batter, I'm gonna just put a few pieces of corn in both of them. So let's see, there we go. Tablespoons of corn, and then I'll just get this mixed in. And now I can drop the batter in into the hot brown butter. And you don't want burnt butter. Yeah. Okay. Get that corn in there. This is really hot. Spread it around a little. It's all into place. Spread that corn. Alright, so as that bakes, it'll continue to spread out. And we'll just let that bake for about 20 minutes. Okay, it's in the oven, 20-minute timer set. Okay, so I'm just using a standard box of Jiffy. When using Jiffy, I also just add a little extra cornmeal. So, do about 2 tablespoons of cornmeal. And then in the center part, I'll go ahead and add my egg. And then half of a cup of the cream. And Jiffy already has a little bit of sugar in it. So I'll do half the sugar I did in my from scratch one. So I did about 1/4 of a cup with that one. So with this one, I'll just do 2 tablespoons. If you don't want your cornbread to have any sweetness to it, then just omit that step. And I'll add in about a tablespoon of filtered water. Just like I do with my from scratch one, I'll just go ahead and add in this corn. You can shave corn off the kernel. I have frozen corn that was already in my house, so I just used that one. Just want to get this mixed in. And while we're mixing that in, I have my butter here, so we can go ahead and brown this butter. And then to this pan, we'll add the batter. So I'll let that butter brown for a little bit. Okay, you can see the butter is browning. Just pour in the batter. I just want to move it around. Alright, so I'll get this into the oven for about 20 minutes. As you can see, the brown butter is all around the edges, and that'll just bake right into the cornbread. Alright, so it's been about 17 minutes. I just went ahead and checked my cornbread. And this came out clean. So this is the cornbread that was from scratch. So we'll just let this cool. And then we'll cut it up and we can do a comparison with the other cornbread. Alright, and this is the Jiffy one that's done. It did get a little more time on it. You can see the edges. The butter crisped it a little bit more. So we can cut into this and do a side-by-side comparison once the Jiffy one cools down. So I've got the camera tilted so I can get them both in the frame, but this is the one that was from scratch. And this is the one that was Jiffy. Now I will say this one probably did get about a minute more of cook time. Maybe 2 more minutes. But so I can show us that. Okay. And use this. Slide underneath there. Get this cut raised up. Oh, it's really falling apart. Okay. That's that one. Just give this a slide up in there. That out. So this is that one, and then this one is this one. So it did break up a little bit when I was taking it out. So just kind of balance them a little bit better. Okay. Jiffy and homemade. No, so this one is flakier. This one's kind of more cake-like. This is the Jiffy one. The Jiffy one's lighter. This one tastes a little bit better. This one's a little sweeter. So I know Jiffy already put sugar in there. I like that they both have the corn in it. I mean, it just depends. If you want it fluffier, maybe you could add another egg to this one, maybe. So there you have it, 2 types of cornbread. I think the Jiffy one was more cake-like, so if you're not wanting that, I would definitely go with homemade. If you're in a time crunch, the Jiffy can work, but just sometimes wanting to know the ingredients that you're putting in your food, you can just go ahead and go with the one from scratch, just to be safe. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell notification. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.